Okay, now in this section, we're going to calculate the mean and the standard deviation from a discrete probability distribution function or table. The mean that we calculate has another uh, definition. It's the expected value. This is where using the calculator is going to come in handy for us. So let's push on to section 4.2 here. We will be, calculating the mean using this equation here and the standard distribution using this equation here. But again, we're going to kind of do this in digestible bites. So and the calculator is going to do a lot of the work for us, but we just have to kind of know what to use the calculator for um, and why. So let's go ahead and get started here with the definition of expected value. So what is the expected value? Oh, let me go ahead and get rid of all this stuff. Apologize for that. So the expected value is referred to as the long-term mean or the long-term average. So this means that over the long term of doing an experiment over and over and over again, you would expect this average, and it's denoted by the Greek letter mu. Probability does not describe the short-term results of an experiment. But probability does give information about what to expect in the long term. Should have deleted this stuff before I started. Let me just do that really quick. Okay. So how do you calculate the expected value? So step one is to create a discrete probability distribution function of your random variable with columns x and probability of x. Step two is to add a third column titled, I've got my formatting marks in there. Okay, so add a third column titled x times p of x. Step three is to fill in the third column row by row. Step four, the expected value would be the sum of the third column values, the sum of all the products of x times p of x. All right, clear as mud, right? So let's look at an example here to see how we would carry this out. So a men's soccer team plays 0, 1, or 2 days a week. The probability that they play 0 days is 0.2. The probability that they play 1 day a week is 0.5. And the probability that they play 2 days a week is 0.3. Find the long-term average or the expected value of the number of days per week the men's soccer team plays soccer. All right, so step one is we want to create a discrete probability distribution function table with columns x and the probability of x. Just like that. Okay, so values of x are going to be the domain of x. And in this case, our random variable x is the number of times that the soccer team plays each week. And so we've got 0, 1, and 2. Now, what's the probability for each of these values in the domain of our random variable? Well, for 0 days, it's 0.2. For 1 day, it's 0.5. And for 2 days, it's 0.3. All right, step three now, or step two, sorry, is to add a third column, which is x times p of x. So we want to take the values in this column and multiply them times the values in that column. And this is where the calculator kicks in. All right. Yeah. So Let's look at both the TI Texas Instruments and the NumWorks calculator. For the Texas Instruments, move this over. We want to get to the list editor. So hit the second button and the stat button. Go click edit. All right, I've got some leftover information. So I'm going to select L1 and hit clear, then enter, and that'll clear all the volumes or the values. Make sure when you click on this, you don't hit delete. Do not do that. It'll actually kind of remove this label here, and that's not good. All right, so that's free. Okay, so list one here is going to be our values of X. So we've got 0. Why did it do that? Oh, it did that because I was trying to define list one. But let me go back. No. There we go. All right, I needed to have the row down below selected. Okay, so 0, 1, and 2. And list 2 is going to be our probabilities for each of these. So that was 0.2, 0.5, and 0.3. All right, let's come over to the NumWorks calculator. And there's a lot of different ways we could do this. I'm just going to do this in I think the regression app will work. So go to the regression app, and here in the X column, let's put in our values of 0, 1, and 2. And then for the Y values, we'll put 0.2, 0.5, and 0.3. All right, now list 3 is going to be the product of the first two columns. So let's go back to our notes. Right, so this third column here is the product of the first column times the second column. So let's do that first here on the Texas Instruments. So what we want to do is we want to program list 3. So make sure that L3 is selected like that. And we want to do L1 times L2. Now notice L1 and L2 are in blue above the number 1 and the number 2 keys. So we want to do second and 1, and that'll print in L1 times second and 2, and that prints in L2. And if I hit enter, there we have the product. So 0 times 0.2 is 0, 1 times 0.5 is 0.5, and 2 times 0.3 is 0.6. Now let's do this on the NumWorks calculator here. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over to the next column over, which is X2, and make sure that X2 is selected like it is now. Click OK. Go to fill with formula. Click OK. Go ahead and make it empty. Okay, so X2 is going to be equal to X1 times Y1. So to make sure that we get a capital X, we have to hit Shift Alpha. And then to print a capital X, we need to push the number 2 button and then a 1. So there's X1 times Shift Alpha 3. And that'll print a Y. And then we can put a 1. Now, if I hit execute, or I think OK will work as well, now it's going to give us our products. So 0 times 0.2 is 0, 1 times 0.5 is 0.5, and 2 times 0.3 is 0.6. Now, let me just show what we need to do. Here we go. So actually, let me go ahead and write those down. So you've probably got this on your calculator in front of you. So this is going to be 0, 0.5, and 0.6. So the expected value is equal to the sum of those products. So if we add those all up, okay, you might be able to do it in your head, but that'll come out to 1.1. Okay, but how do we do that on your calculator? So let me come back. It'll be easiest to do it first on the numworks. So notice that we've got our products here in this column X2. So move up to these tabs across the top, go to the Stats tab, click OK. And what we want is we want this sum row, right? The sum of. And we want to move to the right until we get to the sum of X2. And you can see it's 1.1. All right. With the Texas Instruments, there's a couple ways we can do it. One of the ways is to use one variable stats. So if we hit the stat button, move over to the calc menu, and we choose one variable stats, the list that had our product of x times p of x was list 3. So we can hit the second button and then the number 3 button. That'll print an L3 there. Go down to calculate, enter, and you can see the sum of all of the x's, the sum of all the values in list 3 was 1.1. This is probably the easiest way to do it. I'll probably just do it this way. All right. Okay. Let me see what we got next. I think this is maybe where I want to stop this video here. Yeah, these are just instructions on how I did everything on both calculators, but I just kind of demonstrated that for you. There we go. All right, and we got another think, pair, share. All right, so this is a good place to stop. So the expected value is that this soccer team on a long-term average would play 1.1 times per week. Okay, and that was based off of this table that we made. All right, let me know if you have any questions.